My idea with sharing today is that lives matter. All lives matter. Young lives, poor lives, women's lives, gay lives, children's lives, old people's lives, all lives matter, all right? Plant life matters, animal life matters, all right? And this is how we're going to get into this conversation today, because I think we're at a time when what we value the most is capital and profit and everything around that. And if we change our focus to life, a lot of what we'll do will be different. When I was younger, I grew up in a home where my parents did not adhere to corporal punishment. And some might find it admirable, others might think it's liberal, others might think it's forward-thinking. I'll tell you that it was a nightmare, okay? Because my parents were continuously grounding me. And by the time I was 18, and I look back on my life, I'd spent about 9 out of 18 years in my bedroom, okay? And sometimes it was so severe that I had no rights to go to the public library to watch TV, not even NBC. And I had to resort to their bookshelf. And the books on my parents' bookshelf were economic theories, okay? Health is your greatest wealth. Nutrition that changes your life. Oopsie. And these books were not interesting for an 11-year-old, to say the least. But sometimes, or at some point, I got so desperate that I started to look carefully through the books, and I found a set of gems, biographies. And by the time I was 11 years old, I'd read books on Bob Marley, Julius Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Indira Gandhi, she was one of my favorites, Mother Teresa. And these people became my friends, because when you're sitting in your room and you have no friends, you talk to the friends in your head, okay? And these people had done a lot for the world, but they also did a lot to get me through these really tough times. And they also spoke to me about my parents' injustice. But they kept me going, and I moved from day to day. And as I got a little bit older, I learned how the system worked, and I spent a lot less time in my room. But they had instilled some values in me. They had instilled a strong sense of inquiry, a strong sense of justice, a strong sense of action. Okay? The call to action when things don't work, when things don't make sense. And because I had no other exposure and no other real friends, I actually believed that that is how life has got to be. I get to high school, and I'm in a middle-income kind of school. But what's very interesting for me is that 100% of all the grade 10 learners passed. Okay? Irrespective of your background or whatever it was, the system was such that every single person in my high school passed grade 10. But at the time, and this was around 1996, 97, about 54% of grade 10 learners in Namibia were failing grade 10. And I couldn't understand. And surely it's not because 54% of the learners were dumb. Something was wrong. You understand? And I knew that. I was 15 and I knew that. I didn't have an answer, I couldn't place it, but something didn't sit well for me. A few years later, I have the opportunity to go to the University of Namibia. And I start to see a lot more of this. I see children or young people, learners, peers, who have come to UNAM because they are the crop of the Namibian education system. But realistically speaking, the English, the ability to communicate, the ability to participate in a global economy was not there. And my question was, why is this okay? Why are we so comfortable with this situation? It is not a secret. The statistics are showing it. And when you are living in it, alive, you're thinking, okay. Anyways, I was 19, 20 years old, and as much as I was thinking about it, I was also really focused on enjoying my liberty of not being under my parents' domain, and I was enjoying a party life and that sort of thing. And 3 years into my university time, Dr. Zealand comes to me and he says to me he would like to work on his PhD thesis, and that is to prove the power of sport in at-risk youth. And I think, okay, this is exciting, and I get on board and we get volunteers and we work for 1 year. And it was an after-school program. Kids would come in, we do sports with them, and we were trying to see what that would do in terms of their academics and their school performance and that type of thing. And the program worked out such that we noticed the kids were coming earlier than we asked them to. So we started providing more components beyond sport. We offered academic tutoring. We offered a meal. We offered life skills. We went on camps. And therein developed our program model that you can see the kids at the Katutura Multipurpose Youth Center. And the Physically Active Youth Program was born. And a lot of my answers started to come to me. answers around the education system, why these kids failed, what was going on. And there were all sorts of things. And I got really excited because at the end of our first year, about 90% of the grade 10 learners passed. And I was so excited because I thought, hey, maybe people don't know this, but it doesn't have to be this way. The kids can pass, huh? There's more to it. So we continue. The first year, the second year, the third year, and the program model becomes a lot more tighter and things are making sense and we get the statistics and we write up documents and we go knocking on people's doors to show, look what's going on. Kids don't have to fall through the cracks anymore, okay? But as we knock on doors, the doors keep closing on us. People fall asleep as we're speaking to them and nobody is interested. And I don't understand because one of my colleagues, Patrick Sam, says that, Marie-Jeanne, you're crazy because we had gone to great lengths to prove these things. There's a time we went to a petrol station with absolutely no money, but we had to get kids to an event. And I asked the petrol jockey, please, can you fill the tank? And Patrick goes, are you crazy? Do you want to go to jail? I said, no, I want to prove that these kids can make it. So we fill the tank up. The petrol jockey asks for his money, and I say, here's my driver's license and my ID. I'll bring you your money on Monday, okay? And he looks at me and he says, are you serious? I said, I'm doing it for the children of Namibia. And he accepts, you know? So I believe this is divinely ordered because I'm getting away with murder. Anyways, we get the statistics and we keep going to more doors, knocking to more people, going to the ministry, going to private sector, going to embassies, and people aren't hearing us, you know? And I get sad, I get disillusioned, and my friends say to me, Marie-Jeanne, that's not how we do. That's not how we operate as friends, huh? We push hard, okay? We push. Lives are important. You cannot let these people fall through the cracks. Go back, figure it out, okay? And one of the things my friends told me is you don't even need to be talented, you just need to have a will for things to be different. And that was okay because really I had no other talents except the will to push, okay? So, we go back. Let's start a project that's going to include everybody. All right, and the best way to do that is to make noise about it. Let's include the media, let's include private sector, let's include government, let's include all the influences, all the influential sectors of society. Let everybody know what we are up to, because up until now we were operating under the radar. And let's let everybody feel like they're a part of this process. And let's make it a small project. There's pressure growing in the organization and kids want to start a cycling component. And personally, I have no interest in cycling because it's expensive, it's a marginalized community, I'm just not interested in that hassle. But this is what was being presented to us, and we got into cycling. You heard Michael Linker speaking earlier, so he had given us 100 bikes, and that's how we got started. And we took 12 young men to the Craven camp in January of 2012, and that is how we said, this is our little project that we are going to use to evaluate the process and the interest of people. And we go to this Craven camp, we come back, and we say, what is our goal? What are we trying to do? And the kids say, MJ, our goal, our theme, everything we're going to speak about is Rio 2016, okay? So our WhatsApp group, our pictures, everything that we spoke about referred to Rio 2016. That's what we lived for, that's what we breathed for, that's what we did, okay? And we got the media on board. We were always in the stories. We got a private sector sponsor. We had community member sponsors. We had people who were just interested, people who were curious, people who were just like, what are they trying to do? And then we had us who had our own doubts, but we got going, okay? And one of the first things we did is we said, let's go to, because I wasn't sure that they understood what the Olympics was all about. We actually went to London. I think one of the pictures shows when we were in London. We went to London because there was a Namibian cyclist participating in the 2012 Olympics, and we got really, really psyched up about it. We came back, and October that year, we did the first 100-kilometer race. And most people participate, and the aim is to win. We just really wanted one person to finish because our bikes were so horrible. And one person finished, the bike broke just afterwards. Nobody else finished, all the bikes broke before the 100-kilometer walk, okay? But we were excited, we were on the road, and we had a sponsor now, and things started to change. And, we struggled for a lot of things. We struggled because of our environment. We struggled because of our social skills and our soft skills in this process. We struggled because of the actual skills in terms of cycling and organizing ourselves. But you know what? We kept going. We had a resolve to get to Rio. And this continued 2012, 2013, 2014. And in January 2015, two of the young men that had actually come to London with us qualified for the African Championships in Pietermaritzburg. And that was literally the second last store to take us to Rio, okay? And I remember going home that night and saying, oh, wow, this is like a movie. I wonder who's going to play so-and-so. I wonder who's going to play so-and-so. This is quite exciting, okay? And I was really chuffed. And then the next morning, I got a call. None of the riders that had gone to London got onto the bus to go to the African Championships. And I was like, what's going on here, okay? And it felt like a truck had driven into me, and I lost breath. Then I remembered it wasn't about me. I was never going to be on that podium in any case. And so I started to talk, and we started to have a conversation. And these young men were very clear. They were very clear that they wanted to participate in a race in a small town called Omaruru for a guarantee of $5,000, where there's no guarantee or any money in riding for Namibia in the African Championships. And I said, oh, okay. Of course, there was that part of me that said, huh? Puff and flace over a gold medal at the Olympics in Rio 2016 and all the time and money and energy that we spent. But then there was the other side. How much had we thought about the circumstances of these young people and what were the lessons to be learned? And one of the first lessons that I learned is that no matter how good our policies are, how much money we put into programs, when we want to develop people, we have to look at their total environment, because these children, these youth, come from churches, communities, schools, streets that don't necessarily speak the same language of expectation, success, goals can be met, structure, and you can be whoever you want to be, all right? So 2/3 of their environment were not speaking the same language that we were speaking and saying to them, all right? And we did not include this part of their community, and we did not get buy-in. So from that end, we'd also failed them. The second thing I realized is that we like the idea of development as human beings, because we like to do good things and be seen doing good things and we feel good. But actually, it's dirty work, okay? And when it gets dirty, a lot of people don't feel like it, okay? No, there are very few people that really feel like it, okay? And actually, no, nobody feels like it. Some people are committed and they stick a process through. I think that's the correct terminology for it. And so we had quite a few of these people that stuck and went the whole way through. But most people didn't. And so sometimes what happens when payments aren't made on time, or a speaker doesn't come, or a driver doesn't help through, you are telling this community and these kids and however it is that you're involved that it's not that important. But we know it's important because for our own children, we go the extra mile. Is that not so? For our own children who we want to succeed and we want them to participate in the world economy, we do so much more. You would never walk into a shop and offer $8 for a product that is $15. But that's what we do in development, and we want to see success. And when it doesn't happen, we're like, these people are so ungrateful. And all of these things said and done, the greatest thing that I learned was our culture, all right? Our culture has got to change in our colloquial language, our culture in media, our culture in how we see things, our culture in how we value life. Life first, then maybe capital second, because as it stands, it's such that capital, profit, lives around capital and profit, and anything that is, the further away you are from this, the less important your life is, all right? And this is not, I think, this is what's not working for us. And if we look at life differently and how valuable it is, and understand that profit serves life and not the other way around, we will start thinking about educating everybody that they have got core competency skills that will be able to let them create an income for themselves, that we can create new ecosystems of economies in the communities that we live in. As it stands, the latest UNICEF research shows that 7.6%, only 7.6% of Namibians have got the desirable reading and writing abilities. That is not acceptable in a world where we are moving into artificial intelligence, that the average Namibian 17-year-old cannot give you 5 times 6, okay? Then we're not serious about that, okay? And as I developed all these lessons, I learned them, I took a few steps back, and I made a little bit of peace with everything that had happened. I said, let's start again. And this is where we are right now, and this is the call to say, This is not just work or for making ourselves happy. This is work because Namibia can be a different place. Namibia can be the most desired country in the world. We are such a small population with such an abundance of resources. And all we need to do is come together and say, we will work on this generation and the next generation. Namibia will be the country that every single person wants to live in, okay? And I just want to say thank you to my friends, because although some of you may think they're imaginary, when time has been tough, okay, and I'm hyperventilating, I really do. I hear them, they speak to me, you know. Malcolm X, because he's also a tourist like I am. Bob Marley comes to me and he says to me, Marie-Jeanne, remember these words, walk with them, all right, speak them. Because at the end of the day, it is a personal decision, it is a mindset. And share these words with those that you meet. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. Thank you.